Hello Pixel Faces and welcome back to another PixARK special. I'm Stegs and today we're going to be talking about the all-important and wonderful world of base defenses, including a massive new range of genuinely terrifying sounding plants. If you enjoy the video, feel free to leave us a like and be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest PixARK hype. If you're an Ark player, the chances are you'll be fairly used to how base defenses work in this kind of game. But PixARK is changing things up quite significantly here. There's going to be loads more options for us to actually defend our bases with, rather than the standard auto turret, heavy turret, plant X, and that's about it. PixARK's bringing new plants into the game, as well as magical defenses and your standard auto turret as well. We're going to start with the plants though. So they've got 7 different plant types going in, and we're going to go through all of them, but they've all got unique aspects to everything. It could be, the defense could be shooting stuff, it could be trapping things, it could be bleeding somebody dry, which sounds disgusting by the way, and they all appear in totally different biomes. You can use every single one of the plants as a base defense, but the difference here is that instead of just running around and picking the plants up from the swamp or something, you've actually got to go and fight the plant to be able to get the seed. Once you've fought it, then you can bring the seed back to your base and plant it exactly how you would do in Ark. Now I've just said you've got to fight the plant, and that does mean that the plants are going to be in the wild and they will attack you if you go anywhere near them. It sounds really cool. It's something that people were saying when Ark first came out, they sort of missed a trick. But then you think about it, if you're running around in the swamp, it's kind of dangerous anyway, so having Plant X just shoot at you, particularly as a new player, is probably going to be a little bit too much. The good thing about this is that all of the plants, though, are spread out between all of the different biomes. So if you want to be able to get all of them, you're going to have to explore every single biome to be able to fight them and bring them back to your base so you can use them as base defenses. So let's take a look at all of these individual characteristics of each of these 7 plants. A little pre-warning, the images that we've got of them are quite small, so I'm going to try and blow them up as much as I can, but I don't want to do it too much so that it just distorts everything. So hopefully it's going to come out okay and you'll be able to see everything that we're talking about. The first plant we're going to have a look at is called the Eater Flower. Now, I don't think these names are final, by the way. This is just taken from the Chinese website, so I'd imagine it's going to have a slightly different name. I'm going to call it the Piranha Plant, because it looks like the plant that you get in Mario, and apparently that's what that's called. You'll be able to find this plant in the swamp biome, and this basically acts exactly like Plant X, with a slight difference of if you get too close, it'll start biting you, as well as throwing out poison right into your eyes. So it's gonna blind you exactly like Plant X, it's gonna slow you exactly like Plant X, and if you get too close, it's gonna bite you. The next plant is called Ivy, and you can find it in the grassland area. Now, I'm going to be calling this plant the hole, because what this plant does is it buries its vines underground, and when you walk past it, it ensnares you in them. And then it just traps you there. So I'm imagining that you're going to have to, like, chop your way out of this vine, maybe before it starts bringing you in. What it says in the article is this plant can produce something called vines, bury it underground, entangling you while you pass, and can also spit out special ones. The vines are tied to people who pass by them, turning wild adventurers into their fertilizer. So when they say that, it makes me feel like it's going to pull you underground and eat you, but I don't actually think that's going to be the case with this. So this is going to be really similar to how plant Y works in Ark, except again, you're going to have to chop down the plant to be able to put it in. Once you've done that and you've taken it back to your base, apparently you'll be able to plant it underground, and then it will be able to just trap people from above. The only thing I'm not sure of is how this is going to work with being able to dig underneath. I don't know how planting things in the ground is necessarily going to work, but that's something we're just going to have to find out. That's what it says in the article, at least. The third plant is Nepenthes, which you'll be able to find again in the swamp area. Now, this is actually a real-life plant which eats flies, moths, and things like that. However, I'm going to be calling it Victory Bell, because it looks like a victory bell from Pokemon. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh man, this thing is gonna, like, pick you up when you walk by it, and it's gonna, like, eat you. That's how I imagine it would eat you, by the way, just shoving it into your forehead. I don't know, man. But what it actually does isn't quite as cool as that. So what this thing will do is it'll throw a huge spore at you. So it's going to be bigger than the standard Plant X ones. I imagine it'll probably be slower as well. And what this will do is it'll just slow you down. So you're not going to get the green effect across your eye. It's just going to be a slow effect. But imagine coming across one of the Victory Bells and the Piranha Plants at the same time. One's going to slow you down. The other one's going to slow you down even more and green out your eyes. It's going to be absolute hell to deal with. And again, this will be quite useful for base defenses anyway, because slowing down players if you're not very good at shooting like me is an ace tactic if you want to try and use one of the fabbies. The fourth plant is the Spore Mushroom, which you're going to be able to find in the magical forest. I'm going to be calling this the big purple brain thing. The idea behind this one is that it looks quite cool, so that it wants travelers to go up to it. But when you do eventually go up to it, it actually grows and starts releasing a toxin in the area all around you. You'll find that you're dropping blood, it slows you down, and it even poisons you. The article actually says, and then pouring them underneath to become a source of their nutrition. I don't really know what that means, but I'm assuming that it means it's actually drawing blood from you. So if you go near these things, it's almost a certain death. On to the fifth plant, which has a name I'm not going to be able to pronounce. The Magi Ling, or Magi Ling, I don't know. You'll be able to find it in the magical forest, and of course we're going to give it our own name, the Giant Disease Testicle. Now this plant is again going to be able to shoot poison at you, and I know what you're thinking. It kind of sounds like all of these plants just shoot out poison. But the main difference with the Giant Disease Testicle is that it actually shoots a long range. So it is worth going and grabbing one of these things and putting it by your base just for a little bit of long range protection. The sixth plant is called a Giant Nasty Flytrap. No, I'm not kidding, that's what it says in the article. But we're going to give it a different name of Whatcha? This is going to be found in swampy areas again, and I actually quite like this one because it's not another, it shoots poison, but it's medium range. It's actually a melee plant, so if you go anywhere near it, it's going to start like trying to punch you and bite you and things like that. And what it does as well is it'll actually curl up if you hurt it. So the idea behind this is that for people that don't know about it, they'll sort of shoot it and it'll go like, oh no, I'm down here, I'm hurt, please help me. And then you're gonna go up to it, and then it's just gonna do its again. I'm not entirely sure how useful this one's gonna be as a base defense, to be honest, but I guess you could put it like right up close to your base so that if somebody does try to get near it, they could fight it off. But I feel like the longer range shooty plants are gonna be a better thing here. And finally, the ancient Wang Lian. Feel like I've pronounced the name wrong. I'm not going to give it a stupid name because I'm actually really intrigued about this plant. We're going to read what it says in the article so that we can get a proper good understanding of it and try and pick it apart a little bit. The ancient Wang Lian, a plant with a beautiful appearance and a beautiful name, may also be intoxicated with its praise for its beauty when you die under it. No idea what that's talking about. Remember, this is translated from Chinese, okay? The ancient king Lotus that is distributed in the permafrost region can use long-distance rattan whiplash to attack the enemy. When you haven't had time to escape, slender plants grow on your body like a queen. Although it is horrible as an enemy, if it gets its seeds from the wild, it will become your most faithful guardian of the beauty. After a large amount of fertilizer is successfully planted, the ancient Wang Lian will be able to restore the lives of its nearby camp characters. Value from the wild killing trolls to the reassuring guardian queen. Okay, there's a lot of that I don't understand. However, we're going to pick out a few snippets there to try and understand what this means. And remember, if you have ideas of what that might mean, let me know in the comments, because I don't really know. Okay, so the ancient King Lotus that is distributed in the permafrost region. That obviously just means that this is going to be found in the frost. Ignore the screenshots. I feel like that's just devs getting screenshots of all the different plants, not in their natural environments. Something that I find really strange, when you haven't had time to escape, slender plants grow on your body like a queen. So does that mean you just get plant growths on your body? How do you get rid of them? Is that like the leeches in Ark where you have to go up to a fire and it burns it off or something? What does it do? I have no idea, but it sounds interesting. But here's the most intriguing part about this, and I feel like I'm really clutching at straws / this is a really out there idea, right? But we've been talking about the temporary tame thing for a long time. This says the ancient Wang Lian will be able to restore the lives of its nearby camp characters. Now, I don't think this is really going to be a thing, but it could potentially mean that if you get one of these plants, it might be able to restore your dinosaurs. Maybe that could be what it is. I mean, it says camp characters, so that makes me feel like it's actually more just your, the people in your tribe. You'll be able, if you die, it will be able to restore your life or something. But I don't know, that doesn't really seem practical. When are you actually going to die in your base unless you're being raided? I don't know, it just seems odd. So we've been talking for a long time about how they need to put something in about, these temporary tames. Temporary tames are bad. Maybe this is something. Maybe this plant acts as a way to restore your tames once the 3 days over. I don't know. And I really don't think that any of us can take that as concrete whatsoever. It's just an idea because it says restore the lives of its nearby camp characters. I don't know. What do you think? So that's all of the plants that we know about so far. And remember, they're all going to be in the wild. So you can't just go up and pick seeds out like I said at the beginning of the video. You have to actually go up to the plant and fight it and kill it to be able to bring it back to your base and plant it yourself, which I really like. I think that's a really interesting way of doing it. And I think Ark might have missed a trick with that sort of thing. Moving on to auto turrets. Now, I said in my last video, are there auto turrets? We don't know yet. Stupid stags! Yes, we do, and I'd like to just thank Healthy Lemon for commenting and showing me the video on that. So we do know that there are auto turrets in the game. We can see it right here. When he opens the door, the auto turret is right there. Boom, there it is in all its glory. Now, the auto turrets are going to be set up in more or less exactly the same way as they are in Ark, because electricity is more or less exactly the same. We know that you put a generator down, we know you put fuel in the generator down, you've got wires, you've got the little outlet boxes, and then they'll connect up to your auto turrets. You can obviously use other means of electricity as well in the game, like the raptor wheel and the wind turbine and things like that. And all of those, I imagine, will be able to connect up to your auto turrets as well. So there's no real big differences with the auto turrets at all. It's just that we know they are in the game. And I'm stupid. Before we move on, I wanted to point out there is no word, as far as I know, on heavy turrets yet or a turret limit. Now, personally, if I was Snail, I would be putting these things into the game straight away so it doesn't end up like Ark, where it's like a really big blow and people are really annoyed because they've had loads of turrets before and then they can only have 100 turrets. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. I'm hoping that we'll get some news later on before release, ideally, but we'll see. And finally, in today's episode of Base Defenses for PixARK, we have the Thunder Totem, which we saw in the GameSpot gameplay footage. Let's show it a little bit here. So what this will basically do is you'll plant it in the ground, and it summons lightning down to strike nearby enemies, which is really cool. Now, I would imagine what you need to do with this is get things like the magical wood, which you can see like over right here. So all of the things in the magical forest can be used to make magical items. So I would imagine with this, like I said, you would get magical wood to build the sort of totemy bit, and then you'd get like a thunderstone or something, put it with it so that it creates the thunder totem. It makes sense, right? So we see in the video this little dodo is having a little run along, and eventually one of these thunder totems actually takes it out. And it leaves a nice big old block of meat. I don't think we actually see it, but you can see right there, your tribe defeated a dodo level 7. So he's obviously got it to hurt everything. I don't know if you'll be able to set it like you can in Ark with attack everything, or just attack players, or just attack tames, anything like that, but that's something we'll have to find out. Now, I would also guess that the Thunder Totems are only the start of the magic defenses that we can see. I think we'll be able to see things like fire totems and water totems, although the water totem doesn't really seem that appealing right now. It doesn't really make any sense. But I'd imagine we'll be able to see a lot more magical defenses coming out as well, which is really, really exciting. So all in all, we've got loads of defenses to choose from. We've got auto turrets, we've got 7 different confirmed plants, we've got the thunder totems, we've probably got other magical totems that we can use as well. And it just looks great. I think it's really going to change up the whole PvP meta of Ark. And I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see what they come up with. Anyway, that's the end of the episode, so thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, push your face up against that like button, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next episode.